Hi, everybody. In today's session of the Happy Mind Summit, I have the pleasure of speaking with Rachel Richards, who will be talking to us all about massage and its benefits for helping us with mental health, and particular stress, anxiety, and possibly depression in some cases. So Rachel is a board certified massage therapist from New York. She's also an author of 2 books and also the host of a popular YouTube channel, which has now over 90,000 followers, Rachel Richards Massage. So Rachel, thank you so much for taking part in the Happy Mind Summit. So how are you going today?
I'm very well. How are you? Thank you for inviting me.
I'm doing well as well. So thank you for being here. We're all here ready to learn a little bit more about massage. So I thought it would be useful. We've had a couple of conversations together, but I kind of was really interested in understanding before we get into the nuts and bolts, how has massage evolved into a therapy? Kind of like interested in a little bit of the background. So how has it evolved into a therapeutic practice?
Hmm. Well, at some point, it became sort of a synonymous with like a spa massage, like just a very soft relaxation, maybe with aromatherapy, and I think a lot of people have that image in their mind of a very sort of luxurious experience. And the more research we come up with, the more we know it's actually really great for easing pain, reducing anxiety, improving sleep, and a whole host of other things. So the more therapeutic massages are more targeted towards those things. It could still be, say, a generalized full body massage, but if it's targeted for anxiety, maybe you hang out on the areas that have more muscle tension, and it's more goal oriented. Not that there's anything wrong with a spa massage, but the research did show that moderate to deep pressure is usually best for reducing stress and anxiety, as opposed to very light touch. They had that as a control, which is light touch. But that said, everyone's different. So what helps one person may be different to it for another. My practice is very therapeutic. I see a lot of people with chronic pain conditions, with injuries, sports related, sometimes accidents, sometimes surgeries. And of course, it all comes with a whole lot of anxiety and stress, and perhaps trouble sleeping, and perhaps stomach problems because of it, and headaches. It just sort of snowballs. You really can't separate the mind and body, which is what I love so much about massage, is that it really works together. Your emotions are held in the tissues. If you're in pain, you're going to be more anxious. And that's why I love the more therapeutic approach to the work that I do.
Awesome. So now I guess, because you mentioned there's been quite a bit of research done now. So we've kind of like moved from the idea as just this luxurious, go to a spa, get pampered. So that's very relaxing, to where it actually does have some real benefits. So perhaps we can talk about how it actually does work. So we won't talk about, obviously, there's a whole range of other benefits from massage from the perspective of dealing with any kind of like injury. And then you mentioned chronic pain. Let's focus more on the mind body kind of like connection.
Sure. So from the research perspective, you mean?
Yeah.
Okay. So there is a whole lot of research that shows that massage therapy, particularly given on a regular basis, once a week, twice a week, reduces anxiety, reduces stress, improves a feeling of well-being, improves your overall quality of life. People are just living better who are getting massage regularly. There are preliminary studies that show that there are some sort of physiological mechanisms at play, like cortisol, which is known as the stress hormone. Some studies found that massage does decrease levels of cortisol, that it increases vagal activity. The vagus nerve is one of your cranial nerves, and it's involved in the autonomic nervous system, which is the fight or flight and the rest and digest. And when the vagus nerve is activated, you get more of the parasympathetic rest and digest going on, which helps with a whole slew of things. It just cascades. So that's been really great. It shows that it lights up areas of the brain that are involved in emotional and stress regulation of the body. It reduces muscle tension. That's something that's easily studied. But the other things, I just want to say cautiously, because these are preliminary studies and we do need more research as far as the physiological mechanisms. But what we do know is that people feel awesome after massage. People are just feeling better. It's very hard to do massage research. You can't possibly have a double blind because, if you're giving a massage, and you have to have it so standardized that every person has to do exactly the same thing to every person. And of course, that's not really what it is in real life. You interact with your individual client therapist and you have that relationship. And of course, the massage is going to be, personal to that person, individualized for that person. But it's a lot of good stuff. And we can confidently say that it does decrease anxiety and stress and make for a better quality of life.
So there's also some environmental factors, aren't there, as well? Because when you go into a massage room, the scene is set to help that relaxation process. So you normally have some kind of like aromatherapy happening, some essential oils. You have the ambience, like the music, the lighting comes down, etc. So these other factors have a role as well, don't they?
Absolutely. And it gets somebody to stop and relax and take that time for themselves, which we so rarely do in our lives. So all of those things come into play to get that parasympathetic nervous system, to release that muscle tension. Yes, the soft music. I love lavender aromatherapy for decreasing anxiety. A comfortable table with soft sheets and feeling like you're being taken care of. If you've got a good therapist, you feel like they've got me, they're here, they know me. All I have to do is just let them make me feel amazing, which is just a wonderful, comforting thing that we haven't really experienced since we were children, and we have our parents taking care of us. Like, this is, you are completely surrendering to be taken care of. And in this beautiful, calming, soothing environment. Yes. And of course, that has a lot to do with it.
Awesome. So now let's talk a little bit about the touch itself. Like you mentioned a very curious thing where the actual pressure is important, like just the light touching may not actually have the same benefit as where there's a little bit more pressure. So let's talk about that mind-body connection and then the level of pressure you're kind of like looking for.
Mm-hmm. What I find in my practice is that most people like a deeper, and that doesn't mean digging in with my elbow. It just means like a firmer, leaning more of my body weight so that it just feels secure. It's almost like a big hug, where you just kind of squeeze, and it's very reassuring and it's very calming. So I find that, most people like moderate to deep. And of course, it depends on the area of the body. If somebody has a lot of tension in their neck and upper traps, that might be very sensitive. I might have to go easier there. So it's, it can change throughout the body, depending on the person that's on the table. And it's always good to have communication open. You don't want anything hurting. We have this mentality today of no pain, no gain. First of all, if you're going to a massage therapist and you're already in pain, why would you want more pain, right? And I've actually had people saying, it's not, how is it going to help me if it's not hurting? Well, what happens when it's painful is that you start to release cortisol, that stress hormone. You get defensive. Your body wants to protect itself. So you tighten up. You've got muscle tension now. You're in fight or flight. you're in your sympathetic nervous system. And now we have exactly the opposite of what we're looking to do in a massage: reduce pain, reduce anxiety. So you always want to have the person say, if you're on the table, do not hesitate to say, that's, can you lighten the pressure? That's a little too much. Or, oh, I'd love it if you can go deeper here, or this feels good, or this doesn't feel good. So your therapist knows. And if you like your therapist and you return regularly, they're going to know you very, very well, and you won't have to guide them as much on the table. They'll know what to do. But yeah, I generally find that a deeper pressure is more soothing.
So, and when you're applying the massage and then people do have issues with stress and anxiety, where in the body are they usually holding it? I know individuals are different, but where would be the commonalities?
Mm-hmm. The most common areas would be the neck and shoulders and the lower back. And those are often things that start to hurt after a while of holding that muscle tension, holding that anxiety. A lot of that also is due to just our societal computer craze, our technological addiction of sitting in chairs and leaning over and texting on our phones. All of that gets really short and tightened. And then the back is trying to hold you up and the neck gets strained this way. So that tends to be the main areas that I end up focusing on are neck and shoulders and the lower back, but it does vary.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what types of massage would be useful? Because there's different modalities. So which ones are most useful for dealing with stress and anxiety?
The research they did, I think, mostly recommended Swedish massage, which is a more general sort of full body massage, but it can be moderate pressure. Some people think Swedish massage is only light pressure. That's not true. It could be moderate to deep. I find myofascial release really effective, just for calming the nervous system. So it's a very slow, you kind of lean your weight, and as the tissue releases, you can sink in more as it allows you. And then you can actually get very deep, and that feels good and like a nice release for the client. So I like to do that. I like to do sometimes just finger pressure, holding an area that tends to be very tight or might be a little spasm. I love rocking. Rocking, I guess, is a form of Swedish massage, but just rocking to release muscle tension. And it's, we don't realize how soothing that is, but we're, same as babies who love to be rocked. We also just that rhythmic kind of engagement. What else? Sometimes I do some stretching for shortened muscles after I work them to stretch them out, some traction to the vertebral column, like maybe some traction to the neck just to get a nice stretch in there, or to the lower extremities, get some stretch in the low back and hips. That's pretty much it. I sort of use a whole toolbox of things. And, again, it depends on who's on the table, but that's pretty much how I go: slow, deep, soothing.
So if someone's looking, like obviously they now know your toolkit, it's quite diverse. So when they're looking for finding a massage therapist, because obviously the massage therapist will identify the different types that they specialize in, what should they be looking for if you're dealing with not, say, sports injuries, but just anxiety and stress?
I'm going to say that what I normally answer to the question of what to look for with pain also when looking for a massage therapist, it's really the same. I would not worry so much about modality as I would what you need. So to say, I'm very stressed out or I'm anxious, can you help me with that? And you might say what you like in a session. Like, I like to be on the table, as opposed to like a shiatsu massage would be on the floor, I like deep pressure, I like light pressure, something like that. What you want from the session, I think you're going to get a better that's better communication with the therapist than I want a trigger point massage. Because I think a lot of therapists are like me. I think they do, especially the longer you've been working in this field, the more you sort of incorporate into your session, and it's customized. It should be customized for you. And that's why I don't advertise a modality. I say, I'm going to help you XYZ, if you have this problem, I can help you with this or something like that. Yeah.
Okay, awesome. So now let's talk about self-massage. So not everyone's going to have access to a massage therapist or the ability to visit as frequently as they would like. So, what are the benefits of self-massage? And then perhaps we can start talking a little bit more detail about this, and then we'll move into you demonstrating how we can do it at home. So firstly, are there benefits in doing self-massage at home?
Oh, absolutely. So is it as good as getting a professional massage? No, but it is maybe the next best thing. It's you taking time for yourself, and you should schedule it into your calendar just as you would a professional massage. That way you make sure you do it. There are lots of techniques and ways you can help yourself release muscle tension, reduce anxiety. You can combine it with breathing techniques and meditations and relaxation techniques, all those kinds of things. You can find them all over the internet. If you're seeing a massage therapist, they can give you some stuff to do at home. I have a YouTube channel if you want to check it out. I've got, I don't even know, almost 200 videos, and a bunch of them are dedicated to just anxiety relief. And I show you specific techniques. It's incredibly empowering to be able to help yourself and to know that at any time you can reduce your anxiety if you start to have, symptoms of panic or something like that, to know that you can take a moment, do a few of these techniques, and actually bring the nervous system down a little bit, bring everything down a little, be able to breathe a little easier, and just, make life that much more enjoyable, because it's just not so fun if you're anxious all the time. So this is a nice thing, is that you have yourself all the time, anywhere you go. You can do these techniques. There are even ones that you could do sort of secretly without people noticing if you're in public, like, here on the subway or something like that. Sometimes I'll give clients some little tips and tricks to do. But, especially if you're alone, you're at home, you've got this accessible to you. You could do it multiple times throughout the day, and you find what works for you. That's what's neat too. With self-massage, you learn your body. You learn just firsthand where you're holding any excess tension, and what even maybe gives you an emotional release. You might, because we hold our emotions. It's our issues are in our tissues, is what John Barnes says. He's an authority on myofascial release. And I love that. So I've had people comment on some of my videos saying, hey, I did this and I started crying, but I felt good. What was that about? That it happens. You might start crying, you might start laughing with that release of anxiety, maybe that you've been holding for so many years. It could be very emotional, but a very good thing. So you learn your body that way, and then you have that more of a connection, more of that mind-body connection going on, and that's always a good thing. That keeps you healthy. That keeps you listening to your body, knowing when you're hurting, when you're thirsty, when you're bored, when you're overwhelmed. Noticing those things lets you do something about them before they get stuck in your body and become issues in the tissues. I love that. So self-massage has just infinite benefits and possibilities.
Very good. So before we move on, I'm interested in this holding the emotions in the tissues. So can you explain a little bit more around this? Because I have no familiarity with this at all. So I think a lot of us would really appreciate understanding, well, how are we holding our emotions in our tissues?
So sometimes you can find something logical to attach it to, like maybe a baseball player injured their shoulder and they've been holding their arm a certain way for years and years because they don't want to injure it more and they don't want more pain. And they get a massage, and for the first time, they can let it go. And that can come without an outpouring of emotions that, you probably imagine. I had sacral problems when I was pregnant and with delivery, and my sacrum went out of alignment. And that was, 9 months of that. And I went to, was a massage therapist. I think he was an osteopath, but he put his hand on my sacrum. That's all. He didn't even do anything. He just put his hand on my sacrum, and I just cried. You might know, like, have an experience where somebody hugged you once and emotions came out. It's so ingrained, and it may not even be connected to any part of your body that's had any trauma. You may just hold it in your shoulders. You may just be like this, or you may have an achy low back that you've been just carrying around with you for so long. And when it finally releases, you realize, whoa, there was a lot more in there than just muscle tension. So that's how it sort of comes out. You just can't separate the two.
Okay. No, interesting. So when we're doing self-massage, is it just using your hands, or are you using other kind of like tools like balls or other kind of like massage tools? So what do you need?
Anything goes. So most of my massages are just with your hands. I wanted just to make it very accessible. You don't need any equipment. But of course, it depends on where you're massaging. If I'm doing the back, we're not using the hands so much. We're using more maybe balls or a foam roller or something along those lines, or even just rolling on the floor. I have some techniques where we just roll our hips on the floor to massage them. You want to make sure you're on like a harder floor or just like a thin carpet to get the right pressure. So you could really kind of use anything. I know people who use doorknobs to get into that low back or something like that. So there are all kinds of ways. And then there are massage tools. Massage guns. I don't know who named them. Massage. I'm like, when you think of massage, Lethal Weapon does not come to mind. But anyway, that's what they're called for now. I'm actually having a little campaign to rename them on my YouTube channel, see what we come up with. But, there are massagers like that create percussive or vibrational sorts of sensations. And there are, cushions you can sit on, or all different kinds of things that can help you with massage. You might have to experiment a little to find out what feels good. But the great thing is you don't need anything. And I use hands for some things, but sometimes I use forearms. So you can save your hands. I have a lot of people who say, hey, my hands are arthritic, I can't really use them. So that's why I started things with others. So like if you're massaging your quads, you can just lean in sort of with your forearm to get that pressure and that release. So all kinds of ways.
Okay. And then when you're actually looking to practice it yourself, obviously you'll show us a few techniques. So how long should you be massaging yourself for to get a benefit? Is there a particular time frame that would give you a better result, or it's whatever?
It's that old answer, everyone's different. So it depends on how much anxiety you have, how long you've been practicing the techniques. If it's the beginning, I'd say take some time to really allow yourself. I mean, I do 90-minute massage sessions because it takes someone a half hour just to settle onto the table sometimes. So, I would give yourself at least, let's say 15 minutes if we're going to be reasonable. If you can pull 15 minutes out of your day to just start practicing with some of those techniques, you'll start to find the ones that work best for you, so that when you have a 2-minute break before the next meeting, you could do that technique, that one that feels really good, that just will let everything. So it's getting to know yourself. So I would say it'll probably take more time at the beginning, and you can shorten it or elongate it to what fits your life and what helps you the most.
Awesome. Well, I guess now we've talked about it, so I think it would be useful for people to kind of like see some of the techniques they can use to kind of like help them in this journey to try and deal with stress and anxiety.
Yeah. So we'll do a little massage routine, but just first, make sure you're sitting nice and tall with a tall spine. And just start by taking a nice deep breath into the belly. Exhale it out. You want to try to inhale and exhale through the nose. You can put a hand on your belly, a hand on your chest, and just feel the movement. You want to arrive here. You want to land, be present. That's the big idea with reducing anxiety. You want to put away the past. You want to put away the future and just be here now. And deep breath. And you can start by just rubbing your hands together, warm them up, generate some heat, and just rest them on the sides of your face and just feel that warmth, feel an energy between them. Feel yourself soothing yourself, being kind to yourself, some self-love here and care. And then we'll take a V hand here. If that's too complicated, you could do this. So either way, what you're going to do is put your ear right in that V, and you're going to rub up and down. So you'll apply some pressure to the side of the head. Now, the goal here is no pain. So anytime you're applying pressure, you want enough so that it feels good and like a nice release and does not feel painful or uncomfortable at all. So up and down, that already feels just so nice. And then while we're there, we can start massaging the ears, which are surprisingly relaxing and energizing to massage. And it also helps to activate that vagal activity, that rest and digest. So you'll just take the top of the ear and start doing little circles all the way around, and you do both. I'm just kind of circling like that all the way around, just feeling what that's like. Still sitting up straight and tall, shoulders relaxed. That's always something you want to check in with self-massage, is you don't want to be doing this. You want to keep your shoulders relaxed. And once you circle around, you can go ahead and pull them. I love ear pulling. So I'm just pulling up and out away from the skull. You can play with angles and find this is not a precise science. It is what feels good to you. So pulling up and out, and it just pulls all of that cranial fascia, all the tissue around the head. You might feel that happen, and it's a nice release for the whole head. So I'm in the middle now, pulling out. Take a deep breath there. And then the earlobes, pulling them down and out. Relaxed shoulders, deep breath. And we'll come right in front of the ears, right on that temporomandibular joint, that TMJ. I think the jaw is super important to massage. That always gets so clenched and tight when we have anxiety. If you haven't noticed, you probably have a very tight jaw when you're anxious. So I'm just doing slow circles. You want to be careful with pressure. It's on a joint, so don't go too hard, just nice and easy. And you can take it down the jawline, circling all the way down the jawbone. And then finding your cheekbones, putting your fingers right underneath, flatten them against your face. And now you're just going to let gravity relax your arms down. So it's going to look ridiculous, but don't worry. I can't see you. You can only see me. So I'll look ridiculous for all of us. And we'll just breathe and pull, or I should just say, just dangle your arms. You're not pulling. You're just allowing the tissue to melt. As you move your hands down, let your jaw drop open. Just hang out on a hinge there. All the way. So good. And let's go ahead and massage all that cranial fascia. So you just take your hands like this. They're going to stay in this position as you lift and circle with the tissue, or just lift and move in any direction. So you see my hand is not changing. My fingers are not doing anything because this could tire your fingers really quickly. You're using your whole arm to massage all of that scalp fascia, and it feels so good. Take a deep breath. It'll be really nice to come around the ear here because that's actually also part of the jaw, temporalis. It's a big jaw muscle. And if you go on it and bite down, you'll feel it pop out. It's very powerful. So it feels very good to massage that. And if you come, put your hands on both sides of your head and tuck your thumbs under and up under that bony ridge of your skull, you're going to feel indentations, one indentation per thumb. It really just sort of fits in there naturally if you put your hands on both sides. If you haven't found it yet, don't worry. You can do it later. Just find any point, feels good, and just hold it. Sit up really straight, relax the shoulders down as you do this, and apply a pressure that feels yummy. And exhale it out. Another fantastic point for anxiety is right between the eyebrows. Some of you may have heard it called the third eye. You can do it with thumbs or with one finger or two fingers right between the eyebrows and just hold it. Relax your shoulders, deep breaths. You can make little circles if that feels good, or you can just hold it static. And when that feels good, go ahead and grab that upper trapezius muscle. If you have, that's this muscle all along here, you know the one. It probably talks to you. If you have broad shoulders, you can probably take a whole hand or like duck hand and lift. If you have very narrow shoulders like me, I like to take a pincer grasp. So it's more, actually, it's like this. So my fingers are in the back, my thumb is in the front. If you lift your shoulder up a little bit, it'll slacken the tissue. You could get a good grip on it. And then just lower the shoulder down, but keep that grip. And you can hold it, or you can start moving the tissue around. Go easy. This might be very tender. So be gentle with yourself. If you would like a good stretch or a little more intensity, you can hold a good spot and just start to slowly bring your ear towards your opposite shoulder. And if that's too much, don't do it. Just come up. So that's a little stretch. When you come out of it, slowly, slowly, slowly. You always want to come out of stretches slowly so you don't get a spasm. So let's go ahead with this other shoulder. You can do either grasp. I'm going to get my tissue there. Lift the shoulder, get a good grip. Relax the shoulder down and also relax this other shoulder down. See, this is the caveat of self-massage. This is why it's good to have someone else, because you have to keep everything relaxed while you do it. But you can, because you're sitting up tall and you're taking deep breaths and because it feels good. And if you want, go ahead and give yourself that stretch. And slowly, slowly coming on up. And we're going to squeeze the deltoids. You could do this on both sides at the same time. So deltoid is that big shoulder muscle right up there. You just squeeze like you're giving yourself a big hug. And you are. Give yourself a big hug. You work hard. You deserve this time for yourself. You deserve to feel good and to enjoy life. So big squeezes there. And then drop the arms, just roll the shoulders back, make sure everything's nice and loose and open. Sit up nice and tall. Take a deep breath in. And slowly exhale through the nose. And I want you to take a moment right now to recognize how you feel. So important to notice. Notice your body. Notice the differences between before you started and after. Savor it, enjoy it, and make a mental note when you come back to it. And know that it's here for you. It is available to you whenever you need it. Thank you for doing that with me.
Awesome. So there are some interesting components there, aren't there? Because you incorporating the breath, so to kind of like bring down your parasympathetic to get you more relaxed, and then you're also getting it's kind of like a mindfulness practice as well, because you're getting people to focus on actually their bodies, which takes them out of their head, doesn't it?
Yeah. It really all has to come together. What the massage is doing too, by sitting up tall and opening the shoulders, is it allows you to deepen the breath, and you can't really let go of tension if your breath is stifled. It always starts with the breathing. That's sort of the most important thing that you need flowing. There's a big difference between doing this and sitting up straight and breathing and feeling and taking a moment. That it makes all the difference. It's similar to exercise too. A lot of people just kind of like, I'm doing this and I'm not really paying attention. It's not going to be as effective as if you slow down and really feel what you're doing, feel your muscle working, right? So it is that mindfulness. And the mindfulness is also part of the anxiety reduction. Because when we're anxious, we're always thinking forward, we're fearing what's to come. If you could put that away and just practice being here, being mindful in the moment, that automatically is going to get that parasympathetic nervous system going.
Awesome. No, I think it's a very useful practice you kind of demonstrated for people. And I certainly think it's kind of like easy to do, isn't it? I mean, even if you're in your office, you could set aside 5 minutes just to do that. End of the day or before you go into bed, probably a good way to kind of like help you get ready for sleep.
Yeah, it's excellent before bed. And I tell a lot of my people with very tight jaws or that tend to grind at night to do that jaw release before they go to bed. And they find they wake up and it feels a lot better. And that demonstration, actually, I threw a lot of techniques in there just because I wanted to, offer those things. It was much faster than I usually go. I usually take much more time. So feel free to take much more time yourselves at home and just do even just like one or two of the techniques, but take your time as your first, self-massage session on your own, or follow along to one of my other videos where I slow it down as well. But I wanted to give you a good sampling.
Yeah. So with each of them, you just kind of like do it until you feel that's enough. There's no kind of like, you just incorporate how you're feeling, become aware once you're feeling a little bit more relaxed, and then you can move on to the next one. There's no necessity to do it for a particular point of time.
No, I usually say until you start to feel the tissue soften under your fingers. Or if you're not really feeling that yet, you're kind of new to it. You'll get more sensitive as you do it. But if you're kind of new to it, you could do it for nice 3 big breaths and then move on to the next, something like that. Or if it feels really great, stay there, just stay there for a while. Why not? But often that's part of the getting used to listening to your body, right? So it's your body's going to tell you what it needs. Eventually, you're going to be able to understand that and know exactly where and how long and what you need. And it may change. It may change day to day.
Yeah, no, brilliant. So do you have a final message you would like to leave the audience with regard using massage, dealing with stress, anxiety?
One of the biggest things I hear from people are, I'm too busy for self-care or to do self-massage or to get a massage. I'm too overwhelmed. And what I'm going to say is, or I have no time. What I'm going to say is that that is exactly why you need to do that. And that I would like to argue that taking that little bit of time for yourself each day is going to save you time, because when you're stressed out, you're just not as productive as you can be when you're calm and clear and centered and you know, you're thinking well. So the tasks that you have on that never-ending to-do list are going to be much more easily accomplished in less time if you take that time for yourself. It will also save you time down the road and years from now, because it's going to save your body and your mind and will help to prevent aging or, you know, just anything that comes with, you know, mental disorders or physical ailments or things like that, or, you know, heart conditions. That's a huge one that anxiety is you know, related to, and stomach issues and I believe some mental disorders, some dementia as well is can be provoked by a lot of anxiety. So what you're saving yourself, you're not just saving time, you're saving yourself. So if you remind yourself what you're doing and why even this 10 minutes is so important, you'll realize that you can't afford not to.
Very true. So everyone invest some time in your self-care to ensure that long-term you won't have any additional issues. And then certainly, like, if you don't address your anxiety or you don't address your stress, it's going to lead into other kind of like mental health kind of like issues. So you definitely need to address it before it gets worse.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then, you know, if you're able to do some prevention, you'll be able to do the things that you love for over a longer period of time. And actually, I say the things you love. If you're very anxious, you're not going to love what you're doing. You know, like it's just not enjoyable. But if you're able to sort of calm that nervous system, you can go back to enjoying what you're doing while you're doing it, because you'll be present. You'll be in the moment. You'll be enjoying the people that you're with. I mean, hopefully, if you're with people you like, you'll be enjoying the people that you're with. So it's just such a better way to live.
Most definitely. So to finish up, I have a few questions that I'd like to ask each of our speakers. So don't worry, they won't cause any stress or anxiety. They're very easy. So what's your definition of mental wellness?
Mental wellness is enjoying life. I'll say what I said before. I'll say that it's enjoying your life and being kind to yourself and forgiving with yourself.
Very good. And what are your top 3 strategies for optimizing your mental wellness? So your personal strategies.
Sleep is one. If you don't get enough sleep, everything's out the window. So you have to get enough sleep, and enough sleep for you may be different than enough sleep for me, but you need to get what you need every night. And I would say hydration and nutrition is another thing. Like, these are like the basic things you need to build a wellness practice on top of, you know, like this is the start. You sleep, nourishing diet and hydration. And I would say a good support group, people in your life who you love, who care about you. We just need people. And we didn't learn that lesson so well until the pandemic, how much we need good people to feed us and to be there for us, and we could be for them. That's just, I think, so important.
Awesome. So your definition of happiness and what it takes to be happy?
Oh, my definition of happy and what it takes to be happy. I think having that social network. I think knowing that you are contributing to this world somehow, having something that you know that you're doing, that you feel important about it, even if it's just working and getting a paycheck. And even if you're not, as passionate about your work, you're doing something, you're contributing. You need to feel like you matter in this world. And you do. I just know that a lot of us start to feel like, what are we doing? And plenty of time to pursue the things you love. We're making the time to pursue the things you love. If you love to sketch, schedule it in your calendar. I'm going to draw. If you love to journal, if you love to go for walks or hikes, get it in there. You need that. That's going to feed you, and that's going to, keep you young and give you happiness and give you more purpose in life. Yeah, I would say I can only do 3. Is that what? Oh, no, you didn't say 3. You just said my definition. I gave 3.
Well, I was actually going to lead into what are the 3 things you do to kind of optimize your happiness in your day to day.
It's very similar, I think, to what I gave, which would make sense. I know we were talking beforehand about giving all your attention to one thing, because I do many projects, and I tend to, when one, gets going, like when I was finishing my last book and formatting and publishing and then marketing, so much went to that. And then when I came back to my massage practice, I was like, gee, I'm not having much fun massaging. And I jumped into a weekend workshop continuing education course, and it brought my spark back like that. I was with other massage therapists. I learned new techniques. So just catching those things like, oh, I feel like I'm letting this drop a little, or, something that matters to you, is to, just get what you need to get back on the, the bandwagon and to love what you're doing. I think that's key for me, and spending plenty of time with my husband and my daughter, so that, social, getting outside. I need sun. I don't do very well in the winter sometimes, but sleep. I don't know if I said that before. I need to know that I'm regularly nourished. If it goes too long and I'm like feeling woozy, it's not good. So feeding my body in many, many ways so that I can show up and be there for others, for my clients, for my readers, for my viewers. I have a responsibility to that. So it's got to start with me. It's got to start with taking care of myself.
Awesome. Rachel, thank you so much. It's been wonderful once again. I really enjoyed the conversation. I'm sure the audience has gotten some good takeaways, and they've definitely got a self-massage routine they can practice at home. So for anyone interested in learning a little bit more about you, how can they find you online?
Sure. Well, if you go to YouTube, my channel is called Rachel Richards Massage, and you'll find all my videos there. They're free to you. It's a good resource. My website is rachel-richards.com. And I also respond to email. You can email me at rachelrichardsmassage@gmail.com. Those are the best ways.
Awesome. Rachel, thank you once again for taking part in the Happy Mind Summit.
Thank you so much for having me. This was great. Thanks a lot, Damien.